When you intimidate men. In this video, we're going to get to the heart of whether men are intimidated by certain women and what to do about it. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. There is a difference between being intimidating and intimidating a man away. You could be an intimidating person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are intimidated by you. I was definitely an intimidating person to date for a while. I mean, I run my own business and I write about men for a living, and I was very successful at a young age, and that was scary to a lot of guys. Men were just intimidated by it. This is actually why, this may come as a shock, but my last name isn't actually Alexis. The reason I wrote under the name Sabrina Alexis is my middle name, is because I wanted to be ungoogleable so that these guys that I dated wouldn't, Google me and then get scared I was gonna write about them, or just be scared about, everything that I had going on. I'm also an Aquarius and I'm a type 3 on the Enneagram, and that's an intimidating combination. We're kind of cold, kind of aloof, and we're very achievement oriented. That can be a little bit much for certain people. It's very easy to write off being unlucky in love by saying, well, it's just because he's so intimidated by me. And that was definitely something that I did. And this completely shifts the blame off of you. And it almost like makes you feel good about yourself or better about yourself, because you're like, well, it's just because I'm so great, I'm so amazing, I have so much going on, he's just intimidated by me. But then we have to go back to one of Ty's famous lines in the movie Clueless. If I'm too good for him, then how come I'm not with him? Well, it might be because you're tapping into the wrong energy and presenting yourself in the wrong light. Stick with me. This is going to be a really good, really important, really informative video. So make sure you watch until the end. Real quick, if you like this video and find it helpful, please tap that like button. Super quick, super easy way to help me out, help me grow my channel. Also, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos. Don't trust YouTube to just tell you, because it won't. You gotta ring that bell so you get notified. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at A New Mode. If you think that men find you intimidating, chances are you might need more help understanding what it is men truly want in a woman and what it takes to get him attracted to you, to have a relationship that lasts, to get that commitment. And if that's something you're interested in learning about, you should definitely check out our Make Him Want You Bad system. It goes into so much depth on all of these topics, into way more depth than I could ever go into in a short YouTube video. So you can check that out right now or when you're done with this video at makehimcraveyou.com. Okay, onward. First thing, when someone says, I'm a strong woman, I'm an alpha female, I'm intimidating, that isn't always necessarily the case. Sometimes this could just be insecurity masquerading as an admirable trait. And here's why. Here are some things to consider. Strong people don't need to tell you they're strong. People who are afraid of being taken advantage of do. Independent people don't need to tell you they're independent. People who are scared of losing themselves in another person do. Alpha people don't tend to tell you that they're alpha. True alpha men and women tend to be compassionate, and they don't really have anything to prove to anyone else. It's controlling people who often mistaken themselves as alpha who do feel the need to label themselves that way. So these are just a few things to consider. Are you truly alpha, or are you putting out a certain front because you are afraid of what lies beneath? Next, let's talk about why men might find you intimidating. A lot of the times when women come across as intimidating, what's really happening is they are tapping too much into their masculine energy. Now, everyone, men and women, have masculine and feminine energies. Some have more than others. Some women could be higher in the masculine edge, some men could be more on the feminine edge. But in general, we identify masculine energy as traits that are predominantly male and feminine energy as traits that are predominantly female. I don't want to get too new age on you, so we're going to keep this very practical and very applicable. Feminine energy tends to be more receptive. The feminine is capable of receiving potential and helping to actualize it. The feminine energy is more on the ground. She is the actualizer. Women can also flow better. This is why women are such good multitaskers. A woman can flow between tasks more easily. Now, the male energy is more of the giver. He is the provider. Now, let's think about things from an anatomical perspective. Like I said before, women receive, men give. If you think about biology and how our physical structures are, women receive, men give. I don't think I need to be more graphic than that. Men are wired to provide, to be the hunters. Men are not as good at multitasking, because if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, if a man is hunting, he can't be distracted by other things and doing other things. He needs to be so focused Otherwise, he could get eaten by a lion. He cannot deviate from the task at hand. Male energy is also in the land of unlimited potential. Masculine energy is the land of ideas, of I could have anything. This is why there's that idea of men just want to spread their seed, because men have unlimited potential, whereas the female energy is more finite. Let's think about this again from a biological perspective. Do you know that a woman is born with all the eggs she's going to have for her entire life? Meanwhile, men can continue to produce millions and millions and millions or billions of sperm throughout their lifetime, and a man gives over to a woman these millions and millions and millions of potential children. The woman just takes one of those millions, forms with the egg, and that's what becomes a baby. A man's job takes less than a second, right? Woman takes 9 months to grow that baby. So women are the ones that take that idea, take that potential, and make it great. So in the realm of relationships, we could see that parallel where a man needs to see that with a woman, all of his potential can be actualized and can be made great. Sometimes this takes emotional maturity because a guy who's more in that masculine energy might just want to go out and live in that land of ideas and unlimited potential and unlimited partners and whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's a brief overview of masculine, feminine energy. Let's talk about the dynamics in play. Most of the times in relationships, there needs to be that balance of masculine and feminine. Now with my husband, there are areas where I definitely have much more of the masculine type energy and he's more of the feminine. He's definitely more of like the softer, sensitive one. I'm definitely much more of like the type A type of one, but there's a balance. It's not all skewed in one direction or the other. But you can never have two people that are at the same level of the same energy in a relationship. That usually doesn't work. A lot of the time, women who are too intimidating to men are too caught up in that masculine energy. And that's definitely how I was for a period of time, especially when I started having a lot of success in my career. I think that I started to really define myself based on that. And I think that that combined with just my inherent personality, which is a little bit more on the dominant side, was intimidating. And I wasn't understanding like where things were going wrong for me, especially when like I would go out with guys who were just, just to be honest, like not on my level. Like, like I was way too good for these guys. Like there were definitely a bunch of guys I dated. And then those guys didn't want to continue dating me. And that really bothered me because I'm like, does he not see that I'm way out of his league? So I was wondering what was going on. And I had a conversation with this amazing motivational speaker, self-help guru, Charlie Harari. I don't know if you guys know him. He's incredible. And he laid it out for me so honestly and told me something that completely changed my perspective. And I think that all women who are intimidating need to know about this. So I was telling him about, what I'm looking for, what kind of guy that I want. And he was honest with me and was like, you are coming from a very masculine energy. You're up here already. So the types of guy, if you want a super masculine guy, like I used to think I wanted some like CEO, some guy was like me, like an alpha like me. He was like, the masculine guys who are on your level don't want girls like you because it's too much masculine. They want somebody who's a little more softer. So you're already coming from the masculine energy. If you want someone super masculine, he's going to be up here. But the guys that are all the way up here, because you're already starting out at such a high point, are jerks. They're chauvinistic jerks. And you don't want that because you also want these other qualities. So in order to attract that masculine guy that you want, you have to get more in touch with the feminine. And I really let this soak in, and I realized how powerful this was. This did not mean I had to make myself small. This did not mean I could no longer be a successful woman who was killing it in my career. Not at all. What it meant was lead with the softness. Lead with the feminine. You don't have to lead with, look how impressive I am. Look at how much I accomplished. Look at how much I achieve. Aren't you impressed? I'm so impressive. You don't have to lead with, I'm such a go-getter and I'm so this. Lead with the softness. Why is this important? Because it lets the man feel like a man. And that's how men need to feel if he's gonna develop any sort of attraction to you. He doesn't want to feel like a wimp or a wuss. He doesn't want to feel like, okay, why does she need me? I have nothing to offer this girl. Like, she has all this going on, so why does she need me? And men need to feel needed. Not neediness, not the same thing. A man wants to feel like he can enhance your life, like he can provide for you, going back to what we were talking about earlier. And if you are just achieve, you're creating a wall around you. Also, the guy might feel like if she's so achievement oriented and she's so go, do, I'm always gonna have to keep up. And he doesn't want to feel like he's your competitor. That's not an attractive, sexy energy. He doesn't want to feel like she's always going to be expecting me to do stuff, to do more. Not even this guy could be a complete go-getter. He could be a complete alpha male. But he wants to feel like he's choosing to do those things, not that he has to do those things, otherwise you're gonna get on his case. Next, connect to him as a person. A lot of the times, women who are very, alpha get caught up in looking for the praise, the validation. And when you relate to people that way, you're not relating to them as people, you're relating to them as extensions of yourself, as what is this person reflecting back to me? And it's very hard to form a connection this way. If this guy is impressed by me, then that means I'm impressive. And you use that to build your self-image. And a lot of women who lean into the I'm alpha, I'm strong, independent woman, that kind of feeds them because it feeds into that self-image. But it blocks them from connecting. It blocks them from really being vulnerable. You have to see him as his own person with his own experiences and be genuinely interested in that. And when you can do that, then you aren't such a dominating force. It isn't just all about you. That's when you leave some space to really relate to him and connect with him. Another important tip is to stop planning, plotting, and analyzing. Now, this can come in a few forms. I've talked to you a lot about how stressing ruins relationships. And stressing isn't necessarily something that is intimidating to men. That's more just annoying because it makes you just come across as needy and insecure when you're constantly stressing over your relationship. An issue that the alpha females tend to run into is that they can't stop planning and strategizing because that's how they're wired. They're wired in a way to always plan and strategize. And here is where it causes trouble for them. They can get caught up in planning a whole future with a guy that they've only known for 5 minutes and already planning all the details in their mind. Now, I have a friend who's a great example of this. I have so many of these stories with her, but I'll just pick one example. She went out with a guy. I think it was like a first date. And then afterwards, she's like recapping with me. And she was like, okay, the date went really well, but here are my concerns. Okay, so he just started this new job at a startup, but he's not really making a salary right now. So if we were gonna get serious, then I would really be the breadwinner here. And I don't know if I wanna be the breadwinner because I'm already in my mid-30s and I really wanna have a baby. And when I have a baby, I wanna take some time off. Also, his job means that he needs to really be based in the city because of the hours he works. And when I get pregnant, I don't wanna be in the city anymore. Like when I have a baby, I wanna move to the suburbs. She's already planning a whole life with this guy and they went on one date. Guys can feel this energy. She's already sizing him up. She's already worried about what kind of preschool they can afford for this child that doesn't even exist. And they have nothing yet. And she's already worried about all the contingent, not just worried, but like she's already strategizing. She's already like making a plan in her mind for what could go wrong here. Now, this is not a good energy to be around. This is an intimidating energy to be around because he can feel that you're not connecting with him as a person. You're not connecting to him or relating to him. You're sizing him up. And that is totally different. It doesn't feel good when someone is judging us and sizing us up. Think about job interviews. You know that this person is sizing you up. So you can never just relax and just be. You just kind of have to be so perfect, like on your absolute best behavior. You're scared to make one mistake or say one thing wrong. That's the energy you give off when you're just sizing up a guy. Or you don't even have to be as extreme as my friend. It could even be like, gosh, I know so many women who do this. Like you have a checklist in your mind of, I need a guy who is successful and tall and has all his hair, blah, blah, blah. And on the date, you're just thinking, okay, well, this is his job. So is he really successful? Will he really be able to provide? And I don't know. Oh, look, his hairline's receding a little bit. Oh, I don't know if I could be with a guy who doesn't have hair. And oh, like he kind of snapped at that waiter before. So maybe he won't be a good father. Like this is how you spend the date, just analyzing and picking apart. This is an intimidating energy because it's not warm. It's not inviting. It just, you feel like you're being sized up and you feel like you're falling short of some sort of standard. It doesn't have to be an outright thing, but people can pick up on these nuances. So instead, if you're on a date with a guy, instead of asking, do I want to marry him and spend my life with him? Just ask yourself, do I want to go on another date with this person? That's it. That takes you out of the strategy and the planning and the what if and could this work and could that work? And instead just puts you in a place of just being present and connecting, taking the pressure off. Speaking of being present, just listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Don't think about how can I say something equally impressive that will dazzle him. Just listen. Just take it in. In terms of attracting a man and not, putting out that intimidating energy, just be warm and approachable. I also want to mention, I mean, this is shifting gears from what we've mostly talked about in this video, but it's also really important. You have to be mindful of the way that you are presenting yourself on the exterior, like when you go out. I'm sure a lot of women have observed the phenomenon when you go out looking for guys, like you don't find any, but when you go out, you know, you weren't even intending to go out, but you ended up like at some happy hour and you had no makeup on, your hair was in a messy bun, you were wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and then all these guys are hitting on you. That's because of two things. Number one is just the energy that you're putting out there. When you are hunting for a guy, you're putting out a very desperate energy. Men don't like to be hunted, going back to the basic evolution, biology, masculine energy that we talked about earlier. So when you're just more in that relaxed state of mind, you're more inviting. You give him the space to pursue you. Number two, being all done up, like not a hair out of place, is intimidating. I have a friend who's like this. I mean, back in our days as being single girls in the city, I mean, when we'd go out, she was always perfection. I mean, not one strand out of place, the perfect red lip, the perfect super trendy outfit, the high heel. Me, I was always just like a little bit more easygoing. Definitely like I would dress sexy, but more in a much more laid back way, like minimal makeup, hair always a little bit messy, and just more casual. And you know what? I would always get way more male attention than she would. And I think it was because of that more like laid back approach. I have another friend who was just like scary. You know, some girls are just scary. She was so intimidating and such like a facade about her that was just like, don't come near me, don't come near my friends. Like kind of like that energy, even though like she did want to meet guys, whatever. She was so scary that one night, like a guy saw her and, you know, was interested in her, but he was too scared to even talk to her. But me, I was like a lot more approachable. So he came up to me and then asked for her story and I ended up getting them together and now they're actually married. So it's very important for two things. Number one, the way you dress. Dress in a more approachable way. Honestly, like being more casual is better than being way more done up. You can, if that's how you like to look, if you like to, you know, rock the Kardashian style, that's fine. But in the beginning, that does come across as very, very high maintenance and also intimidating. That is an intimidating look. Like a guy might feel like, okay, she's gonna expect a lot out of me and I'm gonna have to look a certain way and present myself a certain way and that's just too much. You wanna be approachable. So dial it back a little bit. And finally, stop working so hard to make your relationships work and to make things happen. This is a problem that alpha personalities run into because they're go-getters. So they feel like they need to do all the work in the relationship. They need to be making all the plans. They need to be calling him. They need to be doing everything because, you know, that's just how they're used to being. You cannot be that way in a relationship with men. You just can't. I mean, if you want to be proactive, the most proactive thing you can do is just like flirt with him, be warm, be receptive, smile. That's pretty much it. I mean, let him pursue you. Because number one, like that's how men build attraction. It's through that pursuit. So give him the space to do that. That's really all you need to do. And again, I want to make this point. I don't know if it's been clear so far in this video, but being a woman with a lot of accomplishments is not what scares guys away. It's instead the way that you present yourself. Guys have no problem with women who are really smart and really successful. You just have to make some room for him to have something to offer you. There's nothing attractive about that energy of like, I'm doing amazing on my own. I don't need anything from anybody. I mean, it's great to be an independent woman and guys definitely appreciate a woman who has her own life, has her own stuff going on. But if you just have no need for him, then why would he want to be there? I feel like this video was a bit different than how we normally do things on this channel. I feel like we covered a lot of fresh content. I hope that it made sense to all of you guys. If so, please tap that like button, subscribe, ring the bell to get notified. And if you have any questions, if you need more clarification on anything, leave me a comment below. I love hearing from you guys. I read them all. I try to respond to everyone. Follow me on Instagram @newmode, and I will see you in the next video.